So I am the author of C# Fundamentals. The second edition actually just came out a couple weeks ago. It was actually the #1 C# book on Amazon, which is pretty cool. Pretty excited for that. I'm also a CEO and instructor at Uncube, an online education platform. I'm a senior developer at Think Anew, a top 5% Microsoft global partner. I'm currently working on some pretty cool disaster relief software for them, so I'm pretty excited for that. I'm a 2019 MCSD app builder for Microsoft as well. I'm also the founder of a monthly meetup group called Hungry Coders. We meet up once a month. We kind of just eat, drink, talk code, hang out. There's no official speeches or anything. We kind of just chill and talk. So we do that the last Thursday of every month as well. So that's me. Any questions about me?
Where are you from?
I'm from Orlando. Yeah. I came out to Clearwater about 3 years ago. So far I love that. All right, so the agenda for today. So there's a lot of new C#8 features. I kind of picked out my favorite, and I'll think you probably use these one the most often out of all the new features. So obviously I can't cover everything. I picked probably the 4 big features that I like. So first we're going to cover how do I get C#8. We're also going to cover pattern matching. So don't let pattern matching scary, because it's kind of like a scary term. Oh, it sounds all fancy, pattern matching. It's not bad at all. It's pretty simple. Specifically within that, we're going to cover switch expressions, property patterns, and the tuple patterns. So it's really not scary, I promise you. So if you're not used to C#, it's not bad. We're going to cover the new using declarations. We're going to cover the nullable reference types. So nullable reference types is probably maybe the most hype feature of this. It's relatively straightforward, so it's not going to take too long to cover that particular aspect. And then finally, we're going to cover the indices and ranges. So that's our general agenda for today. Any questions on that so far? All right, so how do I get C#8? So good news, so if you are using Visual Studio 2019, you start a new project, it ships with it, so you're good to go. However, I will show you guys a quick little demo. Oh, by the way, so we are going to do a lot of demos today. So if you have a laptop, feel free to bring it out. It's just going to be a basic console app, nothing crazy. So feel free to follow along with me. I might be typing a little bit, but not too much, so it's at a reasonable pace. But anyway, so basically, if you're using .NET Core 3, the newest version that just came out, you automatically have C#8. If you're using an older version such as 2, you have 7.3. But I'll show you how all that stuff looks. All right, so I'm going to go to a quick demo. All right, so all this is basically file new project. It's a C# console app, .NET Core. So to check your latest version, you can just right-click on your project. You guys can all see this, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good signs. Okay, cool. So if I just go to Properties, under Application, you can see here I'm using .NET Core 3. I say it's the latest version, it ships with it, it's good to go. So that's the default. So if you actually want to see the version of C# you're using, if you go to Build, and then scroll down to Advanced, it used to display right here, where it's currently out. So the language version, it's really based on which version you're currently using. So .NET Core, the framework is really tied to the language now. So a lot of people have already asked me, so if I'm using .NET Core 2, can I technically use a C#8? There are workarounds to do it, but I don't advise it. Because you're going to start hitting issues with various features, but you can do it. I recommend you don't do it. And if you're kind of more curious, like why, you can just click on this link right here. It kind of gives you a little more information about how all that works. So that's just kind of how you test to see what version you're having. Any questions on that? Sorry, I used to work at a college, so I'm used to students asking me a million questions. So okay, interesting. So also, if I treat you guys like students, I do apologize. It's kind of a habit in me. So once again, that's how you check which version you have, basically. So if you're using the latest and greatest, you're good to go. Are you guys on Visual Studio 2019 yet? Show of hands. Yeah, pretty much everybody. Yeah, there's really no downside to being on that one right now, so I highly recommend that. How many of you guys are actually on .NET Core 3 though? Just a couple of you guys. Yeah. You guys, obviously I recommend start to upgrade now. If you're on something else, because obviously in about a year from now, when they go to .NET 5, it's all going that way. .NET Framework and .NET Core are basically merging. So I kind of recommend start to upgrade now if you haven't yet. All right, so pattern matching enhancements. So previously, let's just say in C#7, that's when they actually first introduced basically like the is expressions and the switch statement for the first kind of bit of a pattern matching there. Today, we're going to kind of expand on that a little bit. We're going to cover the switch expression, the property patterns, and the tuple patterns. Those are all new in C#8. So I said C#7 kind of brought this in. This kind of just builds on top of that. So once again, it kind of sounds a little scary, but it's not bad at all. And also, you notice I put a little asterisk down there. This is kind of a little side tangent here. So I got this that little paragraph from Microsoft Docs. So as a former teacher, I highly recommend if you keep using, always get back to the community. So I've actually contributed to this document as well, just to be part of it. They always kind of give back to the community. All right, that's my teacher note. Right. So let's look at a demo of C#8 with patterns. All right. So first off, go to patterns. So I'm calling this the classic way. So if you're not, so this is a switch statement right here. You guys can all see that. Cool. So this is a classic switch statement. This came out, I said, in C#7. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of just like an if statement. Basically, if the variable is this, basically the core version right here will be the variable. So let's just say if it's 2, return this. If it's 3, do this. Else, do this. So that's just kind of basically how a switch statement works. So that's the old way. So I'm going to show you guys the new way today, which basically it kind of simplifies the process and makes it a little more clear to read. All right. So I said I'm actually going to type this up a little bit, so feel free to follow along if you want to. So I'm going to start just like before. And really all this is doing is it's kind of getting a version of it, basically. That's kind of the whole point of this little method I'm making. So just like before. You guys all excited to watch me type? I said I'm not doing much typing.
Doing good so far.
You know what yours is?
Yeah, there's just one little red squiggle, but we're good. It's just because I'm not returning anything yet. All right, so so this is the new way. Now I'll kind of explain it once I get into it a little bit. So trying to switch. Okay, so far, you'll notice the syntax has slightly changed. Previously I was saying switch core version, and now I'm saying core version switch. So it's kind of backwards up. This way you kind of recognize at a glance that something is different here. So this is a new switch expression. The other one was a switch statement. This is a switch expression. So that's kind of the difference. You'll actually see the physical difference in a second. I just wanted to point that out for you. Right. So this one's a little more straightforward. So you can just say, 2. So this is my same 2 that I was using up here. And then you can just use the expression. And I'm going to say the exact same thing. You do a copy and paste. All right, and then instead of a semicolon, we use a comma. All right, so can you guess what I'm going to do for 3? That's it. I'm a little lazy, so I'm going to copy and paste this. I never recommend copy and pasting, but try to save some time here. All right, so this will be version. Okay, and then so the next question would be like, all right, so since I'm not using defaults or cases or anything currently, how do I do the default? And so for that one, we actually use the discard. You just use a little bit, and then I'll copy some old version. If you guys aren't anything, you're not on 2 yet, you're on the old version. All right, and then we just need to put a semicolon back. All right, so these 2 things. Hey, there we go. Yes. All right, no error message. That's always a huge win. So I'm pretty excited for that. All right, so as you can see,
is that an underscore there? Did you say discard?
Discard, yeah, that's what I call it.
And the underscore is called a discard?
That's what I call it. Yeah, that's the name of it.
Okay.
Does anybody else call it that? Nope. Just a me thing?
I just saw it.
Yeah, it's called the discard.
That basically means default or?
Yeah, it's kind of just like everything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't want to be sound too smart ass, but why is it? What was wrong with the old switch statement?
So in the old switch statement, we had to use the word case. We had to have extra brackets. We had to use the word return on everything, and we had to use the word default. So there's several things. I'm actually about to go one step farther. So you'll kind of see right now. I think the original one was 11 lines, and this new one's probably 6 or 7. We're gonna go down even a little farther. So this is a switch expression.
Took all the VB out of it.
Yeah. So since we're using a switch expression, we can also use an expression method as well. So with that, let me get a little fancy here. So with that, we don't need these anymore. We toss an arrow up here. I no longer need the word return. And now once again, it does the exact same thing.
What?
Yeah, so with this, you can, with expression statement, a switch expression, you can also use it as expression method as well. So that's a little tidbit about that. And so these expression methods, these actually came out in C#6. It came with the expression bodies. So yeah, it came out in that version. So now it's kind of just stepping up on that.
It's dark magic. That's how you
Question?
Okay, but the other one was a switch statement, and this is a switch expression.
Correct, yes.
There's things going on in the back besides just less words, right?
Behind the scenes, I mean, there's magic happening, yes. So it makes
And
it all
there's
work
better magic
magically.
happening now than in the switch statement,
There's just synthetic sugar.
or is it?
No, I
I think it's pretty much just, yeah, just it's a
say
shorter
like
version.
5 or 6 lines of code.
Yeah.
Of
I think it's also a lot,
actual.
it's a lot more straightforward, I think, now too, because before, as I said, you know, you're looking at every case, every default, all the returns. So yeah, it's really kind of just simplifying the process.
Yeah, syntax just seems like it's going to be easier than
Yeah,
too,
and
if you
actually,
don't use it
yeah.
at all.
So, and also, if you have a previous switch statement, like the classic version up here, you'll notice it's actually underlined now. So they're actually recommending, if I do this, yeah, convert statement to expression. So if I click on that, it does exactly what I just did with the previous.
Whoa.
So I did all the typing for nothing, but I want to show you guys. You know, so it's gonna start recommending. Yeah.
Yeah, once
And that's all built into the
semicolons.
Visual Studio 2019. So
What a
that's-
tease.
So I could have saved myself a ton of work there, but
So what's with that semicolon right there? What's that?
yeah, it's there for fun, I guess.
Well, what's the ellipsis
Yeah,
under
light
the
bulb,
display?
man.
What is that?
Same thing.
Yes. What are we looking at?
The
Oh, this?
ellipsis under the display.
Oh, I'm not currently using it.
It's going to let you do
Yeah,
that
it
again.
currently has
too.
0 references.
Oh, okay. Is that
Yeah,
what I mean?
if I reference it, it'd be fine. It's just saying, hey, you're not using this, maybe you should get rid of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of saying. All right, so that is the switch expression. The reason why I showed you that one first, so the next two patterns kind of build on this one. So I first want to kind of show you how that stuff worked. So that's the switch expression. So next is property patterns. And I might actually steal some of my own code for this one. Yeah, I'm going to steal some of this code. No one feels like typing that. So property pattern. So property patterns, basically what this is, now you can base, so you're gonna have an object, and now the object's properties, you can base it off those. So I've currently made a class over here called core version. It just has one property, just called version. So nothing crazy going on here either. So just the one class, one property, but now I'm gonna show you how you can actually base it off that property on your switch statement. So we will call this one display version property. And we're actually going to send an object to it now instead. We're going to send it that core version. Cool. Alright. So I'm still going to use this expression just because it makes things shorter for us. So we're still using the expression of it. I went way over there, but it's I'm just kind of curious if this will clean it up.
Yeah, the lambda gives it.
You said there's something over here.
Well, because they have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll come back to that. So that'll be fine. All right. Oh, no, I see. Good call. All right. So just like before, we're going to say core version. And we're going to once again to switch. Yeah. Cool. All right. So we are going to say. Notice that already popped up the version for me. So the IntelliSense already knows that, you know, if I had multiple properties, they show all the properties. Right now, I only have the one version, so I'm just going to use that one. So I'm going to say version. Let me do that, and then you just say 2, just like before. And over here, make it a little better. And then I'm going to copy my previous. All right. So that's the first one. And we're just going to do the exact same thing again for the second one. But now it is based off of property instead, which can come in very handy. So you have the whole object, and you're literally just looking for one thing. So if this one thing matches, let's get that and return it. Basically, that's what's happening. We're returning, in this case, a string statement. You can return whatever you like. But it's really beneficial to basing without properties. It comes in super duper handy.
Since the property you're giving there, could I have used another property there? So the version is equal to 2 and something
Yes,
else
you
equal
could.
to-
That's a great question. Yes. So if I had multiple properties, all you have to do is put a comma right here. Then you would just list the next property. So if it matches these 2 properties, then it's sent it back. Great question. I was trying to keep it a little simple, but yes, it's a fantastic question. All right, so that is property powers. As I said, nothing crazy. We're just matching the properties. And then finally, the tool pattern. So this one's already typed out, so don't worry, I'm not typing this all up again. So when I used to be a teacher or whatever at college, one of the things I always had my students do was build a game, rock, paper, scissors. So basically, I recreated that in my tuple example here. I'm going to show you, and I think it's pretty simple. So this is literally the whole game of rock, paper, scissors in just a couple lines. And the way this works is, so you're just sending 2 strings, just like a regular method, and then here you're going to use the tuple. So I got a little fancy and made it 2 lower, just lowercase everything. That way there'd be no conflicts if we're typing and stuff. But then so if the first one, player 1 is rock, and player 2 is paper, it will then display that. So I'm just using a tuple on this. This is a tuple pattern. So it also comes in super handy.
How is that? I missed that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so basically you can base it off 2 things.
Okay.
You can actually base it off more if you like, but in this case I have 2. Tuples go up to 8 properties. In this case I used 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just using these ones, I think. And then you correspond this.
So in that case, if I send in Bob instead of Rock, I'm gonna hit my default there at the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically, imagine nothing. We're hitting this. Exactly. Good question.
Do I need to match the people, like rock and paper?
Yes.
So player 1, player 2. So who should be matching in quantitative number?
Yes, it matters in the direction. Yeah. Yeah. The left hand. Yeah. This is player 1. This is player 2. Yeah, it matters. Great questions. All right. So that is it for patterns. You guys excited for the new patterns?
Yeah.
Yes, it just makes life easier. That's kind of how I see them. All right, so next is using declarations. So those that are not really familiar with using declarations, it's kind of just basically use it, just in this little area, and then as soon as it's done, get rid of it, dispose of it. We no longer want that. So I'm going to do a little code demo, kind of showing the classical way we used to do that, and now kind of the newer, simplified version of how we do that. You can't tell, I'm a huge fan of demos, so I like to show code. I don't always type everything, but today I felt like typing. All right, so using declarations. So the previous way we did these. Oh, so there's a little setup on this one. So this line right here is just a list, and this list is holding 4 items: pizza, burger, hot dog, and salad. So just a basic list, nothing crazy going on there. But I'm going to use that in my using example. So this is the question. So this is my classic using example right here. So I'm just going to kind of run through it real quick. So first I just make an integer, which isn't really part of this. And then this is my actual using statement right here. So when this using statement finishes, anything that's between this bracket and this bracket, dispose of, it's gone, it's no longer there. So anything I'm making here, it's the same thing, it's gone. So this is the classical way to do it. You start with the using, you have the opening bracket, you do your stuff in here, and then you close it. In this particular case, I'm looping through my foods, and basically if something contains the word salad, I'm not adding it to my list. I don't want to eat it. And then I add up the things I'm eating today. So that's kind of what's going on there. My wife's going to kill me because she tries to make me more healthy, but I don't feel like so. All right, so I said that's the classical way. So the new way really simplifies that process, and I think it makes it a lot better. So I am actually going to type this one out. Oh, also at the very end of this classical one, so everything happens here, and then it returns the foods I'm eating today. And notice that this has to be on the outside. So for example, if I cut this will be important later. I put that within this. This stuff goes red because I lose it in here. It only exists in that area. So I said, placement of this is currently important. All right. So now the new way. I'm actually going to copy this line to safety. All right. So I will. ways to do this message. This will just be a user. All right. So this is, I copied this from above. So the new way to do it is you no longer need these. You put a semicolon at the end. So now so it'll dispose when it's out of scope, and the scope is dependent on the brackets that's currently in. So it comes a lot more handy because that previous thing that I had to have up here, I can now put this wherever I like. I put this down here, doesn't matter. So it kind of helps with scope. And a lot of times you have like several using statements in a row. So this was really just kind of, you don't have to worry about all the nested stuff, the whole, it gets really messy. So now you literally just declare it there. I'm going to copy the exact same thing I had earlier. So this is for each. I'm just going to do all this. Put that down. Cool. All right. That needs to go there. Code plant there real quick. All right, so let's check this thing out now. So now, I hate space. All right, so I just have my one using up here. I said you can have multiple usings wherever you like. This no longer matters where it's at, which is super convenient. It runs this just like before, and it also returns as well, and then it disposes it at the end of the brackets. So it really simplifies the whole using process. Any questions on that?
What happens if you put the int before using sentence?
Yeah, we can go wherever you like. Move it up here.
So the using is just whatever brackets are in, that's the scope?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So whichever brackets it's within, it's the scope it's in. Yep. So it comes in super duper handy. So this is why one of my favorite features, because like before you had to worry about nesting, all this other stuff, the placement of this kind of, these kind of variables, it was kind of a thing you had to keep track of. Now it kind of just once again magically works. Which obviously there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but
So let's say that the using is inside an if statement.
mm-hmm.
It only works in the if statement.
Correct. Yes, it works with whichever brackets it's in. The scope that it's in, very important. Yeah. So if you wanted to, you could just move them up, copy your method or whatever you want to put them. So that is using declarations. It's a lot of cool new stuff in C#. All right. So next is nullable reference types. And the first thing I should say, these currently are opt-in. And the reason why that is, once I kind of tell you what they are, is if you currently have these enabled by default and you weren't prepared, let's just say you had a huge program, all of a sudden you're going to have like 10,000 warnings, literally. So that's why they're not currently enabled by default. I do personally believe in the next version they are. This is kind of like our transition period to kind of get used to these and start using them. So I would guess about a year before these actually become enabled by default. But anyway, so nullable reference types. They help declare your intent of what you're doing, and the keyword is intent. We're going to go over that pretty in depth with the demo here. So first of all, I'll show you guys just how to opt into these things, just so you know how to use them, and I'll also just give a quick demo about the nullable references and why you want to use them. Nullable references. So basically, you need this line of code. I'm going to copy this. So I'm actually going to right-click on this on my project and go to Edit Project File, and then it just goes in this property group right here. So that would enable it. But let me kind of show you why you want this before I actually put it there. So currently at this example right here, code's messy. All right, so it's just a standard method. I set example to null, and I try to output example.length. So currently there's no warning messages. There's nothing telling me, hey, we might have an issue here. But let me just run this little bit of code, and let's see what happens. I could have actually run all of these, but I didn't get around. All right. So basically, I'm calling that method, the nullable example. I'm just saying the word hello to it, and I was trying to display the length of it. So if I run this thing, we're going to see a very familiar error message, one that we've all seen a million times. Exactly. So the null reference exception. Basically, object reference not such an instance of an object. Basically saying, I can't do this. So now,
Except it told you what variable.
Yeah, it says your example was null.
yeah. But over here,
Usually it
What's
just
the time
says,
they don't do
go
that?
look for it.
I say good luck basically. Yeah. So right now I said there's no warnings, whatever. So now you'll notice as soon as I put this on, let me just say, and we'll give it a second. And all of a sudden, we start to get warning messages. So basically it's saying, really what these are saying is, are you sure you want to do this? Is this a good idea? So let's just say, for some reason we want this here. Let's say, okay, it's my intent to make this nullable. So you just add a question mark. So you'll notice that this one now, the warning went away, saying, okay, you said you wanted, your intent is to make this nullable, great. So you'll notice here it's still giving me error messages. So it's saying, I actually looked at the previous code, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to do this. So I'm going to keep displaying this warning message. But what if you're like, no, I'm serious, I really want to do this? Then you could just put a question mark here as well. So it's basically you're saying, this is my intent to do this. You're acknowledging this is going to be nullable. So that's the whole big thing about the nulls. Saying, I want this to be nullable. This is like the biggest issue for most programmers. So now actually you have to kind of opt into it. So it's your responsibility to not disregard the warning messages. I mean, obviously you don't always want to use them, always don't want to use them for your case. But if there's no reason for it to be null, you should not opt in for it. Because, like, for example, this has no reason to ever be null. Because .link will always give you an error message. So, all right. Any questions on that? I said I was going to cover that real quick, so it's just
What's the purpose of it again? I'm lost. What's the purpose of it?
The purpose is to avoid making errors, basically. You're telling other programmers, it's my intent to make this nullable. Because by default now, I said you get no warning messages, you get nothing.
Okay.
So this is like people know I intend to do this.
So this is just helpful for the compile time.
Yeah.
Let's just say, if you are pulling a data from your database and that data is coming out as null, it won't show it to you since it is a runtime, right?
Yes, that sounds correct.
At that point of time, it will still throw the null exception.
You still actually get, so if I ran this with that, I would still get the error message. But basically, I'm acknowledging in two different cases now that I want to do this. So it's really trying to give you as many warnings as possible, like, are you sure you want to do this?
Right, it's telling you at compile time instead of runtime.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it have any implication with the code first editor framework or something?
I don't know, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, that's a good question. All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Back there, right before the statement, you deliberately said example to null.
Mm-hmm.
If you had not done that, would score have gone away at that point in time?
If I did set to null, correct. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
Let me show that real quick. That is a good question. No, so if it is enabled. So if I actually put this to something like hello.
Well, I mean, you said no. I mean, just comment.
Yeah, we see how example is no longer underlined?
Yeah.
Because now it actually checks. Yeah, so that's a great feature.
It's kind of pre-compiling then.
Once you go to null, it knows. That's what I'm saying. It kind of gives you the warnings.
Okay. But if the value came from a database table, then it would not know what is coming. So then
Until it's pulled in, that's correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, once it's pulled in. Oh, opt-in, great question. Yeah, so I just right-clicked on my project. I went to Edit Project File, and I added this line right here. It's just a nullable enable. You right-click on your project, and then Edit Project. Edit Project File.
That doesn't sound dangerous at all.
Yeah, all you're doing is just enabling the null.
In 2019, you can just click on the project line and it'll open it.
Exactly. All right. Good questions all around. All right. So
There's a guy in the
finally,
back that
we got a question back there?
Well, just I think that like some people were asking, it's like, well, yeah, if this data is coming in from outside the .NET code, then it could be null. I'm not going to make that. And I think that that's the idea of putting the question mark. Like, if you know,
yeah, there's a
that
possibility.
the data you come back could be null, then you want to say that in .NET code. Hey,
Yeah, it's your intent that you might get a null. Exactly.
Exactly, and therefore, like you notice when he did put the question mark on the for that parameter, it still warned them when he was going to use it. It was like, hey, you didn't check to see if this was null or not, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all about intent. Just saying, hey, I'm acknowledging that this is going to be null.
Yeah, so even in that case, it won't.
Nice. All right. So the next thing we're going to cover is indices and ranges. So with this, we came two new types: system.index and system.range. So with system.index, it brought the caret operator, which we're going to go over in a demo, and it also So I use the caret operator, which we're going to go over, and we also use the period to kind of cover our range. So I'm going to kind of show you what each of those means and how we're going to use those. So I'm going to do a little bit of typing here, so no one leave yet. You guys give me a full 2 hours. I'm going to use it. All right. So I said this is the last one. So for this, I'm going to start off by just making a basic array here.
There it goes.
Almost had it.
My screen is correct. How do I duplicate the screen again? Wait, no, yeah, Windows speak. Great, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. You're our lightsaber. Cool. As I was saying, and thanks for letting me know it wasn't displaying. I appreciate that too. So I would have gone on for like 30 minutes with. All right. So one sentence. All right. So it's just basic array. So I think everyone needs to be pretty much familiar with arrays, right? You've all used those. Basically, it's a collection you store items in.
Nobody uses arrays.
We use lists. Yeah, everyone uses lists. Well, this example using an array, but yeah, we use lists. All right. So I'm just gonna make a quick little thing here. We are almost.
That's really misspelled.
It's almost right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tough room.
Yeah. Gosh. That's where I'm not typing a book up here. I'm just this presentation. All right. So I have my basic array. So currently, if we wanted to display like the last element, usually the most common way is kind of say something like console array sentence. Length -1. All right, so that's pretty common, right? Just get the very last item. If you wanted to do an output presentation here, we would have to say, the array name, sentence.length -1. So there's a new way to do it, a lot more simplified. And so all these new C# API features just kind of made things easier. So the new way, and I'll kind of explain how this thing works in a sec. So we can just say sentence. Actually, all I need to say is close. That'll look like that. Yeah, so these two things do the exact same thing now. So basically, the way I kind of like to look at this thing is basically, kind of just saying set length like -1. So whatever -1 in this case. So try to give you guys a bit more of a visual. All right, so this will all come in handy in a second. So currently, the start. My big formatting first. Right. Anyway, so yeah, they're zero based, so they start at 0. 1, and this will make a lot more sense. Like why I'm actually going through the hassle of decremental. I swear I'm going somewhere with this. All right. All right. So from the beginning, it goes from 0 to 6. It's a zero-based index. So if we were going to go from the other side, so let's just say index from n. So this first one, so we would actually use the caret 7. You guys can all see this on the screen, correct? I'm not just typing for fun. And really, once you see the whole thing, it makes a lot more sense. But I'm all about less code, so I really feel like this helps resolve that issue.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, it is right. Because you're thinking, why is it ending at 1? Yeah, I say we're getting the last position. So this, if you want the last position, it's 1. It's actually what you're getting there. So yeah, it goes 1 to 7 because there's 7 items. So basically, you have to think out like you're minusing off.
That
So
zero-based thing is probably throwing me out.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You kind of see it visually. It's a little confusing.
Can
So-
that one be replaced with a variable?
Say that one more time.
Can that be a variable, the one?
I've actually never tried that. I don't know. So that's another good question. I don't see. I believe it could. Yeah, I'll try that in a second.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, all right, so
It is an index variable.
it is an index variable. Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be a variable.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be fine.
So is it like more performant than, let's say, using like extension lambda method or?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one's better on performance. I was all about just it makes it a lot more simple. That's more my side of it. So I said, I mean, you no longer have to do all this kind of crazy math and whatnot. You just hit the one you want. So that is basically just how to use the last index. But I also want to show you guys the ranges. So let's just kind of, for example,
What's that called again, please?
the caret or the
caret.
yeah, it's just the caret.
The whole thing.
Indexes.
Index, okay.
Indices. Yeah. All right. So variable example. I'll just say range 1. So ranges are also pretty cool. I'm just going to say sentence. Then I will say 1 dot dot 3. All right. So as I said, you kind of say what you want to go to, but just kind of glancing this, like what do you think the actual output would be?
Array of 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's a little confusing actually.
With this presentation.
Because what it actually outputs is R and almost. So basically, it's up until 3. So yeah, we get 1 and 2. We don't get 3 because it's up to that one.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think it's a little confusing there. It goes up to that point, but it doesn't hit that one.
So that's kind of like doing range. Say for instance, like I use Python before. When you do the range numbers to 1 to 100, you want to put 1 and 101.
Exactly. Yes, one less. Yeah.
Can you use the caret with this too? That's all it's 1 dot dot.
You're jumping ahead a bit, but yes, you can. Great question. Like the inquiring minds over there. Yeah. So that one says R and almost. Let's check out another answer. Right, so with this one, I wanted to say, so we can also say dot dot 3. And we actually leave out the first one. So what do you think that one's going to output?
We are almost.
Exactly. It comes out with we are almost. It basically starts at the very beginning. That's what we're doing there.
Can we get presentation? The last one?
Yes. So we would just go up to 7.
Oh, we go past. Huh.
All right. Yeah, because this actually goes to 7. Yeah, both ways technically. All right. And then one more example, because somebody wanted to jump ahead. That's fine. All right. So we could say something like, let's say dot dot. All right, any guesses on this one?
Presentation. This.
With this presentation, so you just all the
What if you just do dot dot?
Yeah, just dot dot.
I mean, like just dot dot. Would it be all of it?
No, it doesn't. So it's actually the last.
There's a carrot.
It goes from this one down.
No, I meant like if you didn't have caret 2, if it was just
Oh,
dot.
once again, never tried that. Well, let me do it. Yeah, I think it just give you the whole range. I mean, obviously, there's no reason to put that in there, but
Yeah, well,
you were just.
it's fun.
For different values of fun.
I guess to each their own. I like to keep things simple. I'm a simple guy, so I do simple things. All right.
Read that.
Can you only use that operator inside of index? Like you can't do like for each var I in 1 dot 5.
You might be able. I haven't tried that one either.
Okay.
I assume so. I mean, it's there. Yeah. We'll come back. All right. So I'm kind of just like what we covered today. So we covered C#8. Hope you guys all know how to get C#8, how to use it. So we also covered pattern matching. We covered a couple of the other basic ones. Using declarations, null reference types, indices, and ranges. All right, and pretty much it. I also want to say, if you want a free digital book, I'm offering one of those. Basically, this is my 2nd edition book. Just go to uncube.com/freebook. This code will be good for a day or two before I remove it. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter, just Adam Seebeck. Follow me on LinkedIn, Adam Seebeck. And that meetup you're talking about earlier was Hungry Coders. And this book will, just sign up, just put your email in, and we'll get your copy of it. Cool. And we're also giving away a paper version of it today, and we're also giving another raffle away with this book as well. All right. Cool. Everybody good?
All right. So who wants one of the books?
Yes. Because we usually have raffle tickets, but we don't have those today. So
All right.
we're gonna have to do some sort of random way here.
Well, fundamentals. So who's the most junior?
Me. Who's the most junior?
Anybody?
I mean, honestly, me.
Over
Right
there?
back there?
Oh,
So pick one at random.
Oh no. You can hand this one out then, because this was more you.
Oh well, this is actually more somebody else. But all right.
Junior developer? Oh no. Do you guys know each other?
Yeah.
Who hates project management? Has anybody heard of this book, The Phoenix Project?
It's a very good book. You should all want it.
So,
I heard
all right. So here's something he didn't cover, or at least I don't think you did. I had to walk away because ex-wife. What does the null coalescing assignment operator look like, and what does it do?
Oh, good question. I did not cover that.
The what?
The null coalescing operator?
The null coalescing.
Null coalescing assignment operator.
Yeah.
Did he use
Anybody?
You got me.
I know the answer. Can I give it to you?
Yep.
Double question mark.
How many question marks?
3.
And
For example, throw exception. If it is null.
okay, so that's close, but that's in C#7. This is only in
And the
C#8.
assignment.
Anyway,
You said the assignment, right?
null coalescing assignment operator. Yes.
3 question marks.
2 questions.
4. Try your 5.
And equals.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was that?
Any idea what it does?
2 question marks and equals.
Oh, well, that was obvious.
And there's an answer that's it.
It is null, then it makes the first assignment.
So it actually does. It does both. It's really cool. You can do like
In the book.
you can do A equals null, and then you can do B equals A question mark equals
There we go, like a term.
5, and it'll say, okay, if A is null, then assign 5 to A and assign A to B.
That's readable.
Yes, yeah.
It looks really neat when you see it.
I was debating covering that. Yeah, just need a little thing.
Just a question. It's for all my friends at work. That's not to me. I don't sully my hands with VB. But
I haven't touched VB in about 20 years, so it's been a while.
with some of these new things, they're not going to be in
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
No, no.
C#'s the
VB's
future.
dead, even if they won't say it.
Yeah,
Poor bastards.
yeah, it's all going that direction.
No, they're still hiring.
Okay, so that was C#8 with Adam Seebeck. Everybody. I am certain that there is still some pizza and probably some soda, so if anybody wants to grab whatever's left, feel free. We normally go down to the avenue, just down the street, and get drinks. They might get mad if everybody goes, but I'm all for that. If everybody is welcome to go, and we can shut down the entire restaurant, it'll be fun. But we just go, that's on your own dime, so drink responsibly, and hope you guys enjoyed it, and come back next first Tuesday of the month. Although I don't know what we're doing for December.
Yeah, I'm saying. What?
John would know what we're doing. I have no idea.
It's intro into accessibility.
Okay, intro to accessibility.